Hello, I'm Eli, and welcome to Speak Out. This is Leeds LGBT plus Literature Festival's spoken word event for LGBT plus spoken word performers of colour. Having an event like this is important because oftentimes our voices are marginalised within the community. So it's good to have a space where we can share our art and share our voices and stories. So, first up, we have the amazing Yas Najati. They are a writer and performance poet who explores queer and trans identity, migrant identity, mental health, recovery, community, and resistance. When they are not immersed in poetry, they are campaigning for queer rights, run workshops on self care, and perform as their drag act alter ego, Turkish pop star Tarkan. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, welcome. I'm going to be reading some poetry today, some older poems and some new stuff. I am of Cypriot heritage, and so a lot of my poetry today is going to be a bit about Cyprus, and touching on, or well, not just touching on, focusing a lot on kind of my grandparents' journey having to leave Cyprus because of the conflict there. I guess before I start performing, I'd just like to give a general content note for my poetry. I am going to be talking about war, displacement, people lost in the war, and a little bit of Islamophobia and discrimination that my grandparents faced when they came to London as well. So the first poem that I'm going to read is called Reminds Me of Home. And this is a lot, I guess, digging into my own thoughts about what home means and where that might be geographically, if I can even place it geographically. The woman on the bus reminds me of home. She smells like gul suyu, rose water. When we were younger, my grandmother used to add a few drops of rose water to any cake she baked so that its smell would be as sweet as its taste. At my grandfather's funeral, my mother poured gul suyu into all of our palms and we tried to catch it like dandelion on the wind. This is how I learned that sustenance and death smell the same sweet smell. Other things that remind me of home: clippers, strawberries, brown plants. My earliest memories of home are trying to distinguish bats and owls in the darkness with no street lights, sitting under a sky so full of stars it was silver with dark blue dots. My grandmother's rolling bread for the clay oven, us getting in the way. My grandfather holding his palm out for a hornet to rest in, under the limbs of a vine tree, grapes dangling, jumping to reach the grapes. Watching the soap opera Samanyolu in the evenings, running round and round the house at night between the small pools of light from the outdoor lamps, being told to stop running when the army jeeps drove by. Feeding the feral cats leftover kebab. A man who got a sea urchin stuck in the bottom of his foot and was showing us what it looked like. The fig tree in my grandparents' garden, the call to prayer, waking us up every morning before the light was back. Shortly after the terrorist attacks outside Parliament last year, I was saying goodbye to my grandmother at her home in Wood Green. She cut my path before I could leave. "Don't tell them we're Muslim," she said. This is how I learned that no border is a safety net and no island is an answer. When I was younger, my grandfather was obsessed with the Turkish version of deal or no deal, Varmasın yok musun. Erdogan has banned that now. And Wikipedia. Other things that remind me of home: my sister's hair, army films, a dinghy in the shape of a yellow dinosaur when the UK government said that everyone flying to and from Turkey had to have extra terrorist checks at the airports, when anyone says that North Cyprus is not a real country. Roses when I say I'm from Cyprus and people ask which side, when I say I'm from Cyprus and people don't ask which side because they don't know that it was titled with sides. The Turkish flag is red like blood and I don't want to stand under it. The British flag is red and blue like blood and sea, and I don't want to stand. I don't want to stand under any flag. I look for home in everything now. In the hands of the man who serves me olives in the Turkish supermarket, his brown skin lined as if marked out for fences. In the radio of a restaurant on Green Lanes round the corner from my house, with posters in the window advertising Turkish pop stars and plays about Turkish journalists writing letters from the prison cells where Erdogan has left them. In the taste of my grandmother's mushroom burek between my teeth, çok tatlı. Like rose water, it is rich and sticks to the roof of my mouth. I cannot speak Turkish well. I am ashamed about this. I look for home. On Dalston High Road there is a shop called Chettin Blinds and a cafe called Julia's Buffet, and these are the names of my parents, so I must have found home right. No matter how many times I visit, my home is not a kebab shop near Turnpike Lane. My home is a distance. My home is a time of year I always visit in. My home is an island. My home is an island not recognised by any other island. My home is gift wrapped in barbed wire fencing by 18-year-old boys. My home is not my home. My home is a fatally healed broken bone. One of my earliest memories of the village is visiting the graveyard. Tombstones with names, tombstones without, tombstones with bodies, tombstones without. This was your great uncle. He was 18. Next to the graveyard, there are fields of olives, figs, strawberries. This is how I learnt that sustenance and death don't always look the same. The fields will catch droplets of rose water and still boys are being conscripted still. This is how I learned that no border is a safety net and no island is an answer. This is how I learned that more war and more scattering leads to more war and more scattering. My grandmother's name is Pembe. It's a Turkish word for the colour pink, pink, like rose water pink, like the smell of homemade sponge cake with 50p coins hidden inside, wrapped individually in corners of foil. Thank you. This next poem is a short one. It's called Cutting My Grandmother's Hair. Something I've been doing over lockdown. My grandmother lost her hair long after she lost her homeland. There is no border on her head. I am careful with the scissors. They are like UN soldiers. And her hands, holy on her lap, are vine leaves. There is a beach on the border. The fence doesn't reach it. I collected shells there once, shells like ears. Her hair collapses through my fingers as sand. Afterwards, we will tread carefully over the mountains. They are so delicate, over the loss. It is so fresh between my fingers. Her hair falls like bombs or like bodies. Onto something a bit more light. I got given a writing prompt, Root, and I wrote 2 different poems, very different to each other, after that prompt. So I'm going to read them one after the other. I've called them both Root, but I feel like maybe one of them should be called something else at some point. But here's the first. In the backyard, under the vine tree, over the sky, trembled and tried, into the party, behind the skin, across the nails with their blunt ends, under the borders, over the fig trees, into the nib of the pen, between the echo, nestled in days spent, opposite futures, downwards and upwards, Lugo and left friends, inside a promise, outside a grown edge, transcending soil, transcending prom suits, transcending the backyard fence. And here we go with the second one. Root number 2. Your gentleness sits at the spine of a tree. Branches, open palms, leaves like pointing fingers. Why do they never point back at you? When the seasons strip your skin bare, you swaddle it in clothes. Dressing yourself is an act of resistance. You buried your name in the earth and watered it. You have to be patient. On another continent, in another bed, you were woken by the call to prayer. once. Snakes hung out in the strawberry fields. Watch out for the white snakes. What is the antidote to poison? In April, the river dried like figs left out in the sun. How powerful is that presence in the sky that takes rivers if it wants to? The land is cracked but still beautiful. Fish will embrace it again. A weed is something that grows where it wasn't intended. I poke my head through the patio tiles and fractured earth. My name is trying to reach the sun, and its roots want water. They are prepared to travel deep. They're prepared to travel with direction or without. They are prepared to be stopped by border control and take rest with friends in East London cafes or Nicosia/Lefkosha pita shops. In the only divided capital city, roots don't split in two. My last poem is a bit of joy, but there is a content note for some gender judgment in a public bathroom. It's called Saçımı kesebilir misin, which means, can you cut my hair? I wait for a no. Wait for him to tell me I'm not a boy, or I can't fool him, or gays aren't welcome here. Instead, he pulls out a chair and offers me a seat. Asks me how I'd like my hair cut. I haven't done this in so long. I've been afraid of barbershops, taught myself how to fade and do step cuts, how to sculpt the top and back, how to cut around the ears. Now here I am in a berber in Istanbul. His hands run shampoo through my hair and I catch myself closing my eyes. I'm ashamed to admit, but I needed this gentleness from an older man since the guard at Topkapı Palace didn't let me use either bathroom yesterday. I needed this gentleness, this acceptance, this knowledge that my queerness and my Turkishness can coexist to someone other than myself. Teşekkür ederim, amca. Thanks so much for listening. And you can find me on social media. I'm just Yas Nakati or Nejati if you're pronouncing it the non-anglicized way. Thanks so much for listening to my work.
Thank you so much, Yaz. That was such a beautiful and intimate performance, which touched on some really heavy topics, but also was really relaxing because of your voice. So thank you. Next up, we have Lauren Michelle. She is a poet, writer, mental health activist, and creative producer. Her poetry takes its audience on a raw, rhythmic journey of emotion, empowerment, and self-discovery. She highlights vulnerability and has recently begun to reflect more on intersectionality and creating a narrative which empowers and reminds others that we are more than our past. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, my name's Lauren Michelle and I'm a poet. I'm here today for Leeds LGBT Lit Fest and I'll be performing some of my poetry for you. I write poetry because I think it's important to give voice to individual experiences as well as collective experiences, and just, to think about what's happening in the world to create conversation. I think it's important that we continue fighting for representation and equality of all people, regardless of sex, gender, religion, culture. It doesn't matter. Everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves to be heard. And I use poetry as a way to communicate that, to create conversation, but also to allow others to feel seen and heard, and hopefully inspire other people as well. So my first poem is called Work Twist. Sometimes it twists your back, hunching you over until you curl into the child you once were, crying in silence, silently knowing You want to be heard, but knowing, your cries will be misheard and heard as screams, these microaggressions eating you inside out, a whirlpool of emotions hiding behind a smiley face that welcomes all, trying to convey friendliness that won't be mistaken for fakeness, nor aggression, nor attitude, the hardness that builds up within to protect but also blocks true connection. Those stereotypical views dancing in their eyes, reflecting to my mind, moving like fire to the tropical beat of cultured rhythms, and your hips, they sway, too bold to be unseen or hidden away. Almost made to feel ashamed of this body I was placed in grace with, body that is envied in the outside world, but this world feels against me. Not represented in the field, striving to make change and vote true diversity, not just with words, but this world feels claustrophobic. From the commute to work, being towed over and boxed in like a sheep to the slaughter, feeling boxed in, COVID, paranoia, setting in, laying in until the mind is in a frenzy, crying in silence, silently knowing you want to be heard, but knowing your cries will be misconstrued as screams, wanting to tell them to move, shift their bodies that strip away personal space, 2 meters distance washed away, like the talk. Race, racism and privilege, now confronted with pretty words, misunderstanding, confusion and implicit compliance. How can we help? Awkward silence, awkward smiles from my counterparts, frustration and brewing anger. How can we help? And all this in one day of work. Now times that by 5 and then by 4 and finally 12, a year, 1 year. That's just 1 year accounted for, filled with white privilege, unconscious bias, discrimination, hierarchy, entitlement, judgment, apologizing for being self. Assimilate, tired. Sometimes it twists your back, hunching you over until you curl. Mentally, emotionally, physically taxing, and then the taxman comes. Some days are good, and sometimes it twists your back. The next poem that I want to perform for you is called Sorry. Sorry, I don't write political poems that capture the pain of crushed spirits forged into ground and waterways for those that died in inhumane ways, wrapped up in newspaper, blackened and bloody blues, dripped and draped over hollow body. Never to write his own stories nor tell his own tales, but to fade and become but a distant memory. Sorry, I can't convey the pain his family must have felt when the police denied suspicion, left with no justice, just the burning heartache of another tortured soul cast into the abyss with those before. Grown tired of the waxing and waning, my black people, panting for breath, chanted in unison with vibrations of everlasting drums, strung out throughout history as a lifeline. Sorry, I don't write poems about queer love flourishing. I seek to see me, to seek you, but lack of representation blinds me, robs me, erases the possibilities of building love within we, between we, to accept and present with bolden strength, to redefine that love blurs straight lines. Sorry, I only write poems that are laced with pain, intertwining and narrating true stories of mine and others past. This is my claim to my voice, our voice. And I voice those who feel unseen and traumas ride and polish brains with anxiety, for those struggling to be strong and bold, for those whose stories never get told, for those who've been cheated, robbed, lied to, abandoned, neglected, overturned with hate for not showing up, standing up. But my voice is your voice, so you don't have to apologize. Instead, take this moment to let them truly see what has become of this broken world, where souls dwell in overcast shadows of human ways, where visibility is fought for instead of freely given as it should be, where arguments rise and rest in lies and imperfect solution and ablutions. There can't be any substitutions for our stories. Not in written form or films about blackface and missing cases. We need more than apologies. We need accountability. So I just think it's really important that we continue to strive for the change that we want to see. We can't, there's no time to relax. We need to keep pushing forward. There's so much injustices going on in the world, and I really feel like we need to come together as people and show each other compassion and love. So all these things that are kind of going on in the world today, it's heartbreaking, you know, especially with the pandemic and then all the other things that have been going on. It's really heartbreaking. It really is. For me, one of the things that really moved me was the Black Lives Matter movement after the death of Floyd. And I wrote this poem. It's called Bigger. I am bigger than hate. And no, I didn't stutter. You heard what I said and I said what I meant. I am bigger than hate. You may beat me down with your calculated words and privilege, but I'll rise. With my people, Maya, Rosa, Malcolm X, Luther had a dream. But dreams are dreams unless brought to action, given motion. We are living in the same world our forefathers fought for, cried for, died for, and here we are. Still facing oppression, subjected to what is right and wrong, too many injustices to count on one hand. This is for Floyd, Arbery, Browder, Bland. I can't recount the amount of times a piece of my soul broke off and I broke down from the council estates. Seeing my own brothers fight and walk down wrong paths to lose their voice to a system that provides no restitution, no resolution to our tragedies, discrimination, segregation, racism. May be abolished, but it continues to grow like fungus under the surface of this world, empowering those to feel superior because of made-up complexities of superiority, yet holler in fear and cower to inferiority when confronted, yell abuse and aggression, self-defense, use the system to fight their cause, their rights, to blind us, misguide us, collected like herd and placed in the institutions, unsupported, to be silenced, silent, or beaten to a pulp. Our focus redirected to smaller battles instead of the war for real equality, visibility, allowed to pick up weapons to fight invisible fights with one another, yet we are truly brothers and sisters. Stand united, and united we stand. We are Marley, Tupac, Gaynor. We are melodies and rhythms filled with tears and laughter. We are life. We are kings and queens who reigned over lands. Let's not forget ourselves, our history, our legacies. We are humans. Our lives matter. Our culture matters. Our presence remains undefeated. We are valuable. And you sense that, know that. Cheated, robbed, monetarized. We are more than entertainment. Puppets for your discourse. We are Walker, Latimer, Jackson. We are Black, proud people. And we are here collectively, individually. So there's one last poem that I want to perform. I wrote this a long time ago, actually, and I guess it was a hard time, I would say. And I think that when you're part of the community and you are a person of colour, it can be really hard to kind of come out. You know, you got that conflict of culture, you got that conflict of, you know, religion. And it can be really, really difficult to really kind of be yourself and accept yourself internally and then allow people to accept you as well. So to gain that external validation and acceptance, it's a very tricky thing. And I just pray that people that are going through these struggles, that they get there. So this poem was inspired by a long time ago in my life. So it's called Rebellion Speech. They say it's a choice. Well, I say I was wronged into thinking I was abnormal, for I am human. I stand before you pleading my sanity, and yet it falls on silent ears, and so I must change my case, rearrange what I thought was true. But in reality, I guess I never really had a clue. I was taught freedom of speech and self-expression, yet all I feel is oppression. Oppression not only for my sex, race, or status, but my preference. Wait, let me change my reference. Condition me to be pure. Pure like the light that saturates the moon. Pure like an innocent child grown within one's womb. Anoint me with your righteousness. Alter me to conform to norms which swarm around me. Cloak me from the beauty of her lips that beckon me. Call to my soul that dances in the mere presence of her elegant beauty. Beauty that strikes every waking mind. I see the sign. The warning signs that tell me it's wrong. You preach and speak of misleading ventures that rejoice at the mere mention of misguided souls. But is my soul accounted for? Can I do more? To plead my case of sanity, or rather insanity of lies, confusion and contortion of my sordid reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauren Michelle. That was a fantastic use of rhythm to highlight some really important messages. Brilliant. Next up, we have Felix Mufti Wright, who is an activist, performer and writer. He co-founded Transcend Theatre, where he writes plays about authentic stories within the transgender community. He is also signed with the Queer House London and is an organiser for Trans Pride Liverpool and Transgender Day of Remembrance. I hope you enjoy his performance.
Hi, my name is Felix Mufti Wright and I'm a writer and performer from Liverpool. I'm signed with the Queer House London and I have my own theatre company called Transcend Theatre. I'm going to read some poems for you today, so I hope you all enjoy. Some warnings, there's some drug references, there's some sexual references, and I think that's it. So enjoy. So yeah, this poem is called I Married the Grim Reaper, and it is inspired by the memory of playing Sims when I was younger, but not being able to fulfill their basic human needs, so they'd always die. So the Grim Reaper had to come so much and collect their souls that it gave me the option to marry him. So yeah, enjoy. As the raindrops coat our skin, we walk through to the scene of the sin. The treetops block our vision from things we don't want to see. You tell me our friends in high places, there's so many things we could see. The branches of the trees kiss the surface of my face as my little legs struggle to keep up with your 6'2" pace. Don't know if it's you or the cold air that's making my heart race. The clouds start to clear as the sun goes down. You ask me what I want to be doing when the night comes around. I say I really miss the stars. You say you know a place we can see some. You grab my hand even though my fingers are numb. We set up a blanket in a clearing in the trees, can hear your heartbeat symphony harmonising with the breeze. You light up a spliff, I say, save us ends, please. Not sure if I see smoke or warm breath in the cold air. Not sure how comfy I am laying against your shoulder. Not gonna lie, I don't think we'll know each other when we're older. We try to make a fire, but all we get is a smoulder. If I tell you how I feel in a forest and no one is around to hear it, did it ever really happen? Doesn't feel like this should be happening. Is this really happening? But you do look so cute when the moonbeams hit your face, as you whisper in my ear that it was so nice to get away. It feels nice to get out the city. I'm still scared of the quiet, but no, you'd never let anyone hurt me. You pull out your blade and your flask filled with whiskey. I don't know how to say it with my mouth that I want you to hold it to my neck. Scar me in a way I'll never be able to forget. I say I love it when you chat shit and carry on like it's philosophic. You say you love it when it's toxic, when we're poisoning each other from the inside out. Is this what that's about? You take my tongue right out my mouth. Can't say anything, can just taste the drought. I've channeled my destruction into your fingertips. Let it release more from my body than I lap past my lips. I try and take your hood down, but you shrug it back up. You don't want to look in my eyes. You heard it makes you fall in love. The way you think hurts my head, makes me wonder where to tread. Say you only come to people who think of death, want them to say your name with their last breath. Ask me if I'm ready to transcend. Ask me if I'm ready for my beauty to be ethereal. Telling me I knew me fate when I picked him as my boyfriend. Telling me I couldn't get this comfort from anything material. You're in my bloodstream. not just on my skin. The connection we have cuts deeper, but that's what I get for falling in love with the Grim Reaper. Thank you. This next one is called Wings, and it is inspired by discreet lads on dating apps, specifically gay dating apps, specifically Grindr. So yeah, enjoy. This is called Wings. Keep my wings in a drawstring diesel bag, Valiums in the Uber, Valiums on the street corner when there's none in the area, discreet lads on too much lem. Keeping me clothes on even when I'm fucking sweating, running out of socks without holes in, running out of underwear that's nice enough for hookups to see, running out of t-shirts that bag around my chest, running out of washing powder, running out of discreet lads on too much lem. I FaceTime, yeah, your pupils dark, eyes wide, say you're fucking off at you, but it's fine, I don't mind. So mine. You tell me you don't usually do this. I say me neither. At least one of us is lying. Your house is like an IKEA display. Everything has a place except me. You ask me what I like. I don't know. You ask me what I'm like. I don't know. You ask me why I'm here. I don't know. I got scared by the rustle in my hood before. Had to move my neck in the same way to check that's what made the sound. Had to unlearn things about myself that other people thought they'd found. But I love it how you talk to me when no one's around. You'll probably block me after this. Want to block out the taste of my lips. Want to block out the feeling of the soft hair on my jawline you felt as we kissed. You just want to get to know me body, not get to know someone you could miss. I check the time on my phone and say I should probably leave. I go to book an Uber, but you remember you said you'd get one for me. Then you stop, stutter and sigh. I just... What is it? It's just... What is it? I don't want them to tell you my name. I understand and leave. Take all parts of myself away with me. My taxi's not here yet, but I was giving myself the ick lurking in the corner of your room. No Ubers in the area. More Valium. The sun's starting to rise, and the thought of me seeing myself in the daylight's knocking me sick. You said it's mad how I even got you excited. Usually impossible with Lemdick. I go to send you a message saying don't die, XOXO, but it's sent, not delivered. All this app shit's just a game, and all these discreet lads are just the same. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying my poetry set so far. I've got one more. It is called Cold Cell, and it is inspired by my ex sadly going to prison. And, you know, there is such a dehumanization of criminals that goes on, and people don't actually look at the justice system and see whether it's actually benefiting people. Most of the reason that people are in there are because of childhood trauma, abuse, drugs, a lack of funding for youth people, a lack of opportunities for people who are fed by the school system because the curriculum is broken, like we all know. And how we're meant to survive in this society gives people nothing and then punish them for it. Take away all their freedom, all the things that comfort them, all the things that they've built up. You know, a lot of prisoners have mental health problems, are on spectrums, and yet we keep them in a building altogether and take away any opportunity for them to rebuild a life. A lot of the time, it's hard for these people to get a job before they go to prison, come out, and it's even harder. So yeah, I think we just need to all, as a society, take a look at how we view prisoners and whether they are the real criminals or the real criminals are sitting in 10 Downing Street in Parliament or even patrolling the streets. So yeah, no police at Pride. But yeah, this is called Cold Cell. Your cell feels cold on my skin, even though I can only feel you through the phone our conversations are monitored on. You joke about stashing that iPhone with Snapchat so you can hit the replay button on the pictures I send you in the middle of the night. They raid your cell. I hear them crash and smash around, rip the pictures of me and your favourite outfit I own. No regards for you. No, not your name, but your prison number. I know you better than I want to. I know better than to want you. I hate when you tell me you shouldn't have done something and explain yourself with the wrong reason. I wish I didn't calculate your thoughts. I wish I didn't preempt disappointment. Not sure if it would hurt less or more. Wish I could kiss you through the phone. Wish I could see you later on. But I'll see you when you get home. For now, I'll kiss you through the phone. You spit me bars you've been writing. Tell me it's my neck you wish you were biting. Rather than holes into the sleeves of your prison issue jumper. And the plastic vape that gives the buzz you crave. Feel you crave to misbehave. I tell you not to shave. Grow me a sexy prison beard, keep lifting them weights. Held the coat I sent you close in the post office queue. Knew it'll be the closest our skin will be for a while. I wake up cold in the middle of the night. Wish I could ring ya, but I have to wait for your calls in the allocated time. I hear the beep that means you've run out of credit, but I haven't told you to stay safe yet. Hear the beep that means you've run out of credit. All I can hear when I'm writing my next poetry set. I don't have enough time to say the things I want to, but before you go, please just know I love. Thank you so much for listening. You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Felix Mufti. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Felix. That was amazing. Your poetry was down to earth, raw, and yet also really tender. Thank you. That was the last of our guest performers and also the last event of the Literature Festival. I hope you've really enjoyed it. And if you want to donate, you can donate at paypal.me/LGBTBlooks. I'm going to finish on some poetry of my own, starting with a poem called The Modern Renaissance Man. I hope you enjoy. Do not confine me, and do not tell me to tick one box, and do not ask me if this is my final decision. I was not made for that. These cogs were not intricately custom molded for a single motion automaton. I am a construction toy and a spatial problem-solving experiment made to open options and free myself of limitation. The devil destined the dabbler. Oh, let the devil dare. I am different but not dangerous and doomed to depression. Because I am a serial cognitive philanderer who cheats on the ones he loves, who will get bored and dump them before commitment is expected, who never settles down and is crippled by future thinking. So hit the road, Jack, because they demand masters. They don't see us as worthwhile investments. So let's define ourselves and stray off the path and bound through the grasslands of never-ending liberation. Thank you. Next up, I have a poem called The Trying One, and I'm very happy to share it with you. Thank you. I keep on chasing butterflies with a net so worn and weak, the weave untangled and frayed, tears open border gates. I keep on going fishing, the pole all bent and feeble, the line knotted and flimsy, hooks in without a bait. I'm no natural lepidopterist, nor a peerless piscator. I'm a me, the trying one, the relentless flower blooms. Though I swear I've had enough of this, I'm fearless to the core. I'm a me, the trying one, just without the proper tools. Thank you. Finally, we have one of my many love poems. This is currently untitled, and I hope you enjoy it. Piece to piece, your stubborn soul, the lifted tones of burning grace, to bask, to blaze in blinding bliss, a hatchling bird from cindered bounds. Yarn by yarn, still woven wild by all your sense and senseless ways, to mock, to mask the feral mare, to know such maps and mysteries. Song through song, in puzzled words, these 12-time tales of city heights, to show, to seek, instinctive salve, a timid step in first sight snow. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed the entire event. Yeah, bye-bye.